The Dallas Cowboys went up against the Detroit Lions and lost by... They lost 47-9. How about them Cowboys? I ain't seen a bunch of soft, sensitive cowboys get bent over and fucked like that since Brokeback Mountain. I want to let you guys know that this is going to be a little bit of a different episode of the NFLOL as we roast the ever-loving shit out of Jerry Jones. I'm doing a donation collection because we got to raise money in order to praise the glorious, wonderful football gods for what they have given us this weekend. I'm not even referring to the all-time beating that the Dallas Cowboys took in front of a bunch of drunk, delusional Dallas fans. No. I'm talking about... What's that? Sounds like Whisper in the Wind. Sounds like Jerry Jones. Our boy Jerry. You know, I gotta admit, I've been wrong. For weeks, I've been saying Jerry Jones has to stop fucking prostitutes in the bathroom so I can focus on his team. Well, my boy came out for air, and the more we got to see him, the more he embarrassed both himself, his entire family line, and the entire Dallas Cowboys franchise. First, there was this delicious moment where one of the most low-stakes criticisms resulted in Jerry Jones legitimately threatening to have their jobs on air.
Well, guys, there's some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I got evicted out of my cardboard box last week because I didn't get the thousands of dollars donated to my Patreon like I expected. The good news is, if I get a bunch of likes, comments, shares, and you tell everybody you know about these videos, then I will be able to afford rent in the sewer that I'm currently inhabiting.
Jerry, I think the counter back when you said where are you going to get the players, you can't get them this week is, and you're aware of all the off-season topics.
Yeah, but what is your counter? What is your damn counter?
My counter is...
I really want to know where... Now, don't tell me about should gotten a guy in the off-season.
Why not?
Let's talk about what I should have done back in 1907 or 2017. Shit, Ben. Come on.
1970, a little different from this past off-season in building the team we're talking about today.
Oh, I remember those criticisms very well. Okay, so what?
Are they playing out to be accurate?
What's your point? What's your point?
My point is, it seems like...
Listen, let me tell you what I'll do. This is not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
why.
Get
a job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions.
We're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting. 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
You could tell these men were genuinely bewildered because it was such a nothing criticism that they never could have imagined a sensible, rational human being would ever have a reaction like this. And for the first time ever, I saw the striking resemblance between Jerry Jones and C. Montgomery Burns. And when he wasn't threatening to cancel his own shills like the soft, sensitive snowflake that he is, he was being driven insane by the football gods to give us one of the most juicy sound bites in the history of football.
I'm not considering that. Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it
I wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot?
Notice, Jerry Jones did not state that he is not an idiot. He had to ask if the other guy thought he was an idiot. And that's because Jerry Jones is too fucking stupid to know if he's an actual idiot.
Do you think I'm an idiot?
In answer to your question, I do not think you're an idiot. I know you're a fucking idiot. If there's one thing that sports proves above all else, even becoming a billionaire does not make you immune to being a completely stupid asshole. In fact, you have so much more money to get away with being a stupid asshole that being a billionaire actually might exacerbate how much of a fucking idiot you truly are. You know, it's a story that's been told and retold so many times that it's now become ingrained in NFLOL lore. But about 30 years ago, a drunker, even stupider, younger Jerry Jones sat in a bar and reflected upon the fact that his team had just won the Super Bowl. You would think that you'd be flying high. But see, as fucking stupid as Jerry Jones is, he's smart enough to pick up on the fact that every time he walks through that locker room, slaps a player on the back, taps him on the ass, rubs his shoulders a little, grunts, and nods in appreciation at the player, assuming they just had some kind of special moment, the response he's met with is always subtle looks, laughter, side eyes. Jerry Jones lives with the constant reminders that he's not cool, that he's nothing more than a paycheck, and that his desperate attempts to seem like a father figure, but only to the most talented of players, is not only noticed by everybody around him, but also openly mocked by all of us with 2 pairs of working eyes. So Jerry Jones, after walking up to Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith, probably throwing up a couple gang signs while wearing a do-rag. Once again had to face the scorn and mockery and outright rejection of his players. Went to some bar, got his ass completely wasted, but not before seeing the players pound around with good old Jimmy Johnson. That broke something in poor Jerry, something that all the money in the world can't buy. It broke his sense of self-esteem. It pierced right through the veil of confidence and stabbed him in his insecure heart. So he stood in front of these reporters, probably half sat, half laid down because he was drunk as a skunk, and he declared, for all the world to hear, I could have done this with any old coach. These are my teams. Never mind the fact that all the most positive player interactions were with Jimmy Johnson. Never mind the fact that he knows he's an uncool, ancient billionaire vampire. That's right, Jerry, you did it. It was all you. For 30 years now, Jerry Jones has been trying to make that dream of his a reality, to prove that it really was all him. And for 30 years, his team has failed consistently in the biggest, most high-leverage games imaginable. Even when they have 12-win seasons, seem no closer to a Super Bowl than they were in the Dave Campo era. Well, now, more and more, Jerry Jones has to deal with these entitled Zoomer athletes. These are guys who don't know and don't give a fuck about the past or what Jerry Jones has done. To them, Jerry Jones is just a paycheck. And as Jerry Jones runs low on athletes who have come from poor, underprivileged backgrounds, and he loses the ability to wow them with pitifully blatant attempts to get them on his side with small acts of charity, you gotta imagine the emperor sitting in his castle, that little luxury box in the sky, wondering what the point of it all was. Why do you think Jerry Jones tries so hard in vain to control negotiations, even though he collapses like a deck of cards and gives the athletes exactly what they want in the end anyway? He's trying to exert any sort of control and power and influence that he can. This is the NFL contract negotiation version of somebody who's never learned how to swim, flailing aimlessly in a kiddie pool, crying out and begging to be saved.
Do you think I'm an idiot?
30 years of wasted time trying to prove he's not the idiot that we all know he is. 30 years of pretending that having a sycophant like Dan Schneider have his head so far up Jerry Jones' ass every year that his nose now permanently smells like Jerry Jones farts. And think about that. Everywhere this man went, Dan Schneider was attached at the hip. You ever see A Christmas Story? You know, the tall red-haired bully and the tiny little sycophant that follows him around and eggs him on? Well, as a billionaire, that's all Jerry Jones amounted to. A tall red-haired bully. As tall as his wallet was stuffed. But when faced with adversity, curls up in a ball and starts lashing out like a little bitch, crying, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the breakdown of a bully. We're seeing the breakdown of a failure. A man who goes on radio shows and threatens guys who make 0.01% of his net worth. We're seeing a guy get snippy with reporters, projecting his own feelings of insecurity and flat-out stupidity. The only power he could feel is if he puts someone else on the spot. Unsurprisingly, yet again, it's a reporter, a man who makes 0.01% of the wealth that Jerry Jones does, a man whose job is reliant upon Jerry Jones allowing him access. And so he dares this man to answer, dares this man to respond.
Do you think I'm an idiot?
And of course, what do you think the reporter's gonna say? Yeah, I think you're a fucking moron. I think you spent 30 years jerking yourself off, telling yourself what a great general manager and person you are, while the NFL's version of A Christmas Story bully drifts in a cloud of your fart smoke. And that's when he's not permitting a bunch of corporate clowns to molest his cheerleaders. Cause nothing says I'm cool quite like having a follower whose claim to fame is being the owner who condones predatory behavior. Well, until the Browns showed up. Dan Schneider was muttly and Jerry Jones was little dick dastardly. And you know, we're just a few weeks out from another impotent owner throwing a tantrum and firing his coach mid-season. So don't you think it's funny that when Jerry Jones responds to the question of firing his coach like this?
Considering that. Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it
Don't
once
I
before.
wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot?
The implication is that only an idiot would do something like that. And Jerry Jones, of course, is not an idiot. He knows ball. So while defending his own actions and inactions, he's simultaneously putting down somebody else's. That's what a bully does. It's the constant need to feel superior, even though the results are nothing but inferior. You lie to yourself. You compare yourself to those you see as weaker. And when you can't crush someone with your wallet, all you have are subtle, passive-aggressive jabs. Jerry Jones amounts to nothing more than Regina George with a bigger wallet, but you can't insult your team into performing well on the field. No amount of sycophantic ass sniffing will suddenly make the Cowboys a championship team. No amount of threatening radio hosts with their jobs will undo 30 years of wasted time, energy, and potential. 30 years of abject failure. The greatest joke involving the Dallas Cowboys is that Jerry Jones actually thinks he's the only one in on it, when the truth is that the only thing that he's inside of is a circle of shame. There he sits, with clown makeup on, surrounded by pointing fingers as we all laugh at this stupid billionaire doofus. Notice how many times I point out he's a billionaire. It's because that's all he really has. Outside of outright mockery, what is this man known for outside of the NFL? He's just some guy who made money, spent 30 years embarrassing himself, is becoming more and more of a lolcow in his twilight years, and soon enough, he'll be dead. Just like them Cowboys' dreams of going to the Super Bowl this season, and next season, and last season, it ain't happening. Not so long as this lizard-eyed ghoul continues to sit in his luxury box throne, pretending he's God Emperor. Well, if he's the Emperor, it's time to throw his ass down the shaft. Fire yourself, Jerry Jones. It's the only competent thing that you can do, and it's the only thing you won't do. And by the way, what kind of pathetic fucking loser do you have to be that you derive satisfaction out of bragging about your players' dick sizes? That makes it doubly weird how much this guy tries to act like a father figure. Guy had a worldwide, renowned, internationally recognized celebrity, and he goes on bragging like an 1800s slave owner about the dick size of his property. Someone take this man out of the plantation and put him out to pasture already.